Prior to the 2023 elections, we saw some people coming out to say that Igbos own Lagos. Igbos have bought all the houses in Lagos. That Lagos is no man's land. And this statement triggered a lot of people, especially the political gladiators in Lagos and also the Southwest. Now, they never took this lightly. On top of that, the presidential election, P2B beat Tinubu blue-black in Lagos, and it was also an affront. It was also a trigger. It triggered a lot of things. Some of these guys have not really recovered from that stupendous beating in Lagos. Imagine a P2B will beat Jagaban, Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Lagos. Labour Party, which is seen in quotes as an Igbo party, will beat a Yoruba party in quotes in Lagos. After that incident, man, what started happening is they started going back to the drawing board to make sure that they clip the wings of non-indigenes in Lagos. That what happened in 2023 would not repeat itself again. It is an affront that a foreigner, a non-indigene, will come into Lagos and beat the indigenes like it happened during Awolowo and Zeke's time. They saw that it was becoming a repetition. So some of their guys had to go underground to start making plans to make sure that this does not happen again. And how would they make it possible, especially for an Igbo man, not to get that kind of result they got during the 2023 presidential elections? Listen to Tunde Bakare. He said he was in a meeting. Pastor Tunde Bakare of the Latter Rain Assembly, he said he was in a meeting, and that meeting, the discussion was about Igbos, how they are going to take over their buildings and properties. This is a video that is viral that we all know. Before somebody comes under this broadcast to say that we are lying, this is a video that he made. He confessed to be in that meeting, and all they were planning is to take over the properties of Igbos, probably other indigenes, which I believe that is being piloted by the current administration. You see, what happened during the election sent a big message to the ego of the APC in Lagos State, and they had to make sure that they secure their boundaries. That's why you see the likes of the Yoruba Ronu and the Yoruba Conservative. Now they want to make sure that it is indigenes that would take control of anything that has to do with Lagos, so that they would not see or experience what transpired during the 2023 presidential elections. Now, having said that, the Lagos State has approved the Yoruba language as a subject in public schools for testing the knowledge and thinking ability of pupils sitting for the placement test by continuous assessment scores in the state. I repeat, Yoruba language have been approved for testing the knowledge and thinking ability of pupils that are going to sit for continuous assessment test. I went to secondary school, primary, secondary school in Lagos, and also my higher institution, I went same in Lagos. I did same in Lagos. Whilst in secondary school, we had Yoruba language as a subject. Yoruba language has been there as a subject. It has not been taken that seriously when I was in secondary school. Not seriously. I was in secondary school in from 1999. I was still in I just got to JS1. I think JS1, JS2, 1999. So we did Yoruba. They didn't take it that seriously. But you see, after the elections, this is 2004, Lagos State is now approving Yoruba language as a subject for testing the knowledge and thinking ability of pupils. What does that bring to you? You see, I've stayed in this climb for a longer time to understand that, I said it before, that the Yoruba Ronu movement should not start attacking the Igbos. There are ways you put people in check. You go through your laws. The people in the assembly, they are taking measures to make sure that they make it legal to clip the wings of non-indigenes in the state, to frustrate the efforts of non-indigens in the state. That's why you see some of these houses that are being demolished, C of O titles being reversed, whatever. You know that this area that is being affected, largely non-indigens are the one buying houses in those areas, and it's become a part of legislation. Look at what the government officials are saying, how bigoted government officials, especially from the southwest region in Tinubu's government, look at their action, their reaction, what they do. It tells you the extent of hatred and bigotry some of these guys have for Igbos and non-indigens. Let's use Igbos because I think Igbos are the main problem in this context. They believe that Igbos are, that's why you saw the hashtag Igbo must go. Hashtag Igbo must go. The handler of the hashtag, most Lagos state government and federal government officials were following that hashtag. That tells you something that is not hidden. So it is a good one that the Lagos state government is approving Yoruba language for testing the ability, thinking ability of pupils and knowledge of pupils in Lagos state, whether you are Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, Edo, Ibibio, Efik, Zamfara, whatever, Ifulani, you have to undergo this Yoruba language, whatever, so that they can test your thinking and knowledge ability in Lagos state. Now, it will be implemented 2025. So the permanent secretary, Lagos State Minister of Basic and Secondary Education, Mr. Abayomi Abolaji, made the disclosure while speaking at the stakeholders meeting held at the conference room of the Ministry of Alausa in Lagos. The permanent secretary noted that the study of Yoruba language is already embedded in the education curriculum of the state, adding that primary 6 pupils transiting to government public junior secondary schools will be tested in Yoruba language in the year 2025 placement by the continuous assessment test. This is what we call Yoruba Ronu in high places. It is a good one by the Lagos state government to preserve your culture and identity, but the intentions behind it is what I want to speak against this morning. Most of us can read and understand the Yoruba language, but you see, there's a plan to displace, there's a plan to take away the economic power of non-indigens in Lagos state, and this is a gradual thing. What happened to Jonathan did not happen in 2015. The Southwest media all had a plan to make sure that they upstage and unseat Jonathan. It is a plan. They have planned it. The propaganda, the media propaganda, the alliances, the coming together, APC and everything, they planned it. One thing I like the Southwest is that they plan 10 years ahead. In order to achieve what they want to achieve, they plan years ahead, and they get it. These guys are propagandists, these guys are lobbyists, these guys are political gurus when it comes to behaving in a certain way. So this is the real Yoruba Ronu, and it is commendable from me. You preserve your culture and identity. Yes, Yoruba language should be compulsory in all schools in Lagos state, so that, because if you can understand English, one thing that will make me know you understand English is your ability to speak your language. All our professors of English, like the Chinua Achebes of this world, like the Olarotimi, like Wole Soyinka, they had the proficiency in speaking their native language. They could write in their native language. So I support this move by the Lagos state government, but I'm thinking that the reasons why they are doing this is to make sure that they sift. You know, when you sift the trash from beans, you pick them. It takes time. You pick them. So they are using this thing, this educational development, to make sure that non-indigens will be fished out. Remember, Yoruba teachers are mainly Yorubas. So if your child is in primary school and does not pass Yoruba, it is likely that he's not going to get into a junior public secondary school in Lagos. It is likely. It is likely. So he has to pass Yoruba. I know that the politics behind all these things is getting worse and worse and worse every day. Look at how Amaka was treated. Look at how the person that triggered Amaka was treated. Look at how every other person in the Southwest had made denigrative statement against the Igbo people. Look at how they were treated. Will tell you that the stand of a government that is being ruled by Tinubu's cabals, which is promoting bigotry, would push an agenda with this curriculum to make sure that their bigotry goes academical. And I'm blaming the Igbo people. We need to understand that if it's to start renewing now, as an Igbo person, understand that your 5 plot of land is a place that you can start, because Buhari said is not in a circle. Some of these Southwesterners say 5 plot of land. Let's think on how we can develop the Southeast. I've been saying it and saying it. Let us sit down and think on how we can develop the Southeast. We have no other home than the southeastern part of Nigeria. These people are developing their place. You don't drag Lagos with the Yorubas. The Yorubas are the owners of Lagos. If you like, build 1 million houses in Lagos. Your house has an expiry date. Let me say 99 years. For those that are buying houses, you understand that the government eventually owns the house at the end of the day. You can own that house for as many number of years, but if the government wants to take it from you, they can take it. And the government is being controlled by the Yorubas. You cannot challenge a Yoruba person with the government of Lagos State. They are going to beat you to it. And also, the Oba should be traditional stool. You cannot become an Igbo and go and start contesting for the Oba of Lagos or the Oba of other communities and societies. So the Yorubas are the owners of Lagos. We should all try as much as we can to think on developing the Southeast. We know that the government in power wants to put the Southeast in disarray. That is why they are refusing to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And you see all the things that are going on in the Southeast is making investors look at Obi Kubana building I think is a tricycle factory in Lagos. When we have the Southeast, that this can help employ a number of people, help engage a number of Igbo youths with all their talents and ability, especially if you had placed that in Ariaria market, in Abia State. But that won't happen because some people have decided to make sure that the Southeast is unstable, there's insecurity, and it is ungovernable. One of the persons that are being used is the governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma. And we know that Tinubu would not want to release Nnamdi Kanu, but wants to use Nnamdi Kanu as a bargaining chip against the North for his second term, 2027. So now it is time for Igbos to renew. The Yorubas are taking it upon themselves to preserve their culture, which is understandable, although they will not have to cross the lines put by the Nigerian constitution. Their lines you don't cross. Yes, their lines you don't cross. But they are wise enough to enact laws, put out legislation that will exclude you from anything that has to do with Lagos. I said it one more time. In a street, there are 10 houses, and probably those 10 houses, 8 of those houses are owned by non-indigens. 6 of those houses are owned by Igbos. What would an evil regime do? They will legislate a law. They will look for loopholes to make sure that they collect these houses from your hand. Is that by saying that something, there's a pipe going under, which they cannot explain to you. There's a construction they want to do, which they will not be able to explain to you in clear terms, to make sure that they destroy your house. Government is government. Look at what happened to Landmark. The initial route was taken to the front of Landmark. The initial route for Landmark was at the back. So they had to take it to the front to make sure that they are able to level that establishment, that investment, which in quotes, I'm using the word in quotes, belongs to an Igbo man. You cannot tell me that this Yoruba language being spoken in public schools is not targeted at the weakness of the indigenes not being able to speak Yoruba. because it could get to a point whereby if you don't pass Yoruba language, you cannot be admitted. Now, from that generation, would be pushed away from Lagos schools. Probably you go to Ogun State. Maybe Ogun State still enacts the same law. Most of your children might not get education in Lagos. And probably when we are talking about employment in Lagos and all have you, it may be you studied in Lagos or this or that or this requirement from this. They know how to play that politics. I am not against this approving of Yoruba language, testing knowledge and ability and thinking ability. I'm not against that, but there's a motive which I suspect that these guys are pushing, and I'm telling our Igbo people, Igbo brothers, they should take advantage of this revelation and look at how we can pressure our own government back there in the southeast to make sure that we preserve our own culture. An average Igbo person finds it difficult to speak his language and read his language, an average Igbo person, and that is a failure on the part of our parents and on the part of the institutions we have in the southeast. You are destroying our culture. If the younger people cannot relate in the Igbo language, how do you preserve a culture? Some of them don't understand some of the omenala in Igbo land. Some of us have been taking painful efforts to study some of the traditions that we have in Igbo land, because we need to preserve our culture. Because in the next 10 to 15 to 20 years, because these people are planning, we might find it that the Igbos will be fizzled out in having any education in Lagos State. Now, they have approved using Yoruba to do most of the Lagos State publication. You want to pass, they are sending a signal, a message to you that we are being conservative because of what happened in 2023. Because of the statement, Lagos is no man's land. They were provoked. Igbos have bought most of the houses in Lagos. They are provoked. Igbos own Lagos. They are provoked. And on top of that, a P2B came and beat Tinubu blue-black in Lagos State. That was the biggest disgrace. They could not take it. You will see more of these laws. You see more of this legislation. Imagine that the houses are being demolished and you see places like Lekki, Festac, or Ojo. These are places who have Igbo dominated residential areas. You cannot have to explain to anybody that the government is targeting a particular tribe. They will tell you, but you see, the coincidence. Why is it that it's in these areas that Igbos have their properties? Why? Bayo Nanuga, look at what he said. He could not hide his bigotry. Look at what the Nidcom woman, Abike Dabiri, look at her actions. She could not hide her bigotry. Imagine these people at this level, at this federal level, are behaving like this. What would be happening in the states, Lagos State and other states, in their closed-door meetings? What will be happening? I cited an example of Tunde Bakre saying he attended a meeting far back, 10, 15 years ago. Some elders came together and said, let's take these houses from these people. So these are meetings that are being done behind closed doors to make sure that they clip your wings as an Igbo man in Lagos State. We should take same measures to protect our culture, our tradition. If Nigeria is going to start dividing, let it start like this, because gradually everybody will be minding their business. This take by the Lagos State government is commendable. It's going to take us slowly into regionalism. We'll get to a point that we cannot take it anymore. Everybody will just take it upon themselves to develop their region and call for regionalism, regional government. If Igbos put Igbo as a compulsory language, maybe some Yorubas in Igbo land don't like it, they might come to Lagos or to the southwest to also do Yoruba and pass. Igbos that could not pass in Lagos State might be coming back to the southeast because they could not pass the Yoruba language. Remember, Yoruba teachers are the ones marking your subject, and they can readily call them for a meeting and give them instructions to be fair. I want to use the word to be fair because we know the kind of people that we are working with. Well, it is very, very important for us to understand all these things that is being said. And let us begin to think back home, think home, think home. These people are taking right steps that we also should take. Everybody should preserve their culture. Igbos, Lagos does not belong to the Igbos. Lagos belongs to the Yorubas. Lagos does not belong to the Bini. If they have a history, that was then. Now, Lagos belongs to the Yorubas. Although, if you are talking about the Southwest, it's only Lagos we are talking about. We have other states. The development of other states is only Lagos. Southwest, what are the states in Southwest? Lagos, 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 Lagos. We have Ogun State or your states. We have Osun State. We have Ekiti State. But there's nothing to write home about. But yet, let's come to the round table. Think about going back home, investing in the cultures and tradition of the Igbo man, and also help your children take courses, Igbo courses, and make sure that they are proficient, make sure that they understand. Let's have an economic plan, let's have a social plan, let us have a political plan, a unified political plan, so that we will not be taken unawares when eventually Biafra at the end of the day is achieved.